to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Tuesday, June 24th, mock draft time. We got another mock draft episode today. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to Jason taking Caleb Johnson in the first.
Oh, man. Don't tempt me with a good time. And,
no, we're doing a full PPR mock draft on today's episode of the show. That is the main event. Very excited about that. 12-team full PPR mock draft. The draft is fully stocked with the three of us and a number of our writing staff and employees. And so we're going to get a good lay of the land here at the end of June. And we know from the Footcast episode we recently recorded that, I mean, we had our first set of questions where people were like,
my draft is this
I'm
week.
I'm drafting next week, which was jarring, and don't do that. But it does. Sometimes that's just what happens.
Yep.
Schedules are tough for people.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't aim for mid-June.
I would say if you're doing a dynasty startup, I feel like that's fine.
Obviously,
definitely. You've got to be after the NFL draft. You have to be after free agency. When it comes to training camp, it's like,
is that what that was? Was it a dynasty league?
I don't think so. No, I think
okay.
The question we got was just a redraft league. They're ready to go.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. That's what we're doing today. And if you want to watch it, if you want to see the draft board and see all the different teams as we go through it, very easy to do. Head over to YouTube, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers, and you can follow along in the draft. You can follow the show on Spotify and Apple. Drop us a 5-star review if you have a minute. That really helps the podcast
Only
out.
5 still.
Yeah. Right. It's a good,
all right, I don't know.
Call.
That's why I said 5.
Sometimes
do 10 if you can.
Sometimes in the game of reviews, it's very funny because you'll read a review, you're like, oh, this person took the time. They wrote, like a paragraph, and they were, so nice. 3 stars. You're like, what? What? How are you going to be nice?
We like the 5s. We definitely do. You can follow us on Twitter, by the way, on X, at the FF Ballers, and the Ultimate Draft Kit with the Draft Analyzer coming out in a few days. UltimateDraftKit.com, the Draft Analyzer. This year we're going to add the feature of being able to import not just your draft and get a grade on your team, but also compare it to the rest of your league. So we'll be taking all of the teams in your league and giving you a breakdown, not just of your team, but of theirs, and that'll let you identify some trading opportunities, and it should be a lot of fun. Big upgrade this year to the Draft Analyzer as part of the UDK Plus, the community over there, jointhefoot.com. But that's all I had to say here at the top. I want to jump right in. It's time.
Let's go.
The Fantasy Footballers Mock Draft.
Well, I said it. 12-team, full PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 4 bench spots, and randomly assigned draft order. I'm at the 1.
Randomly.
Yeah, I randomly assigned it in the order I chose. I'm at the 1, Bet's at the 2, and wait, Jason's at the 4.
I'm excited about that. The last 2 drafts have been at the end of the draft, and so I get the change up.
And Kyle's in here at the 6. Mike is at the 8 spot. And so, like I said, you can follow along on YouTube if you want to see the draft board, but we're going to get right into it. This is a full PPR mock draft, which is delightful for me at the 1 because I am traditionally somebody who likes to push for running back at the top of the draft, but I will not do that here. I will start our draft with Jamar Chase in a full PPR, and I'll just let him fly right off the board onto my roster. I have no you have no reason to ever complain or feel bad with the Chase pick at the top. And
sure.
So Matthew Betts follows suit with a CD Lamb selection at the 102. Very excited for Lamb and Dak being back this year. And then Justin Jefferson off the board at the 103, putting Jason in kind of the more interesting first selection spot here with a number of great running backs on the board.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, in full PPR, sometimes it's tempting to force yourself to go wide receiver. But really, I mean, full PPR just means the pass-catching running backs are equally more valuable. Christian McCaffrey in full PPR leagues has been the league winner still. So this year, my number one running back is Bijan. He's young. He has no red flags. I personally think we haven't seen Bijan Robinson's best season yet. I'm going to draft him right now and hopefully get it this year.
So Chase, Lamb, Jefferson, and Bijan. Here's our running back run. Gibbs goes at the 105. I can see that in full PPR.
Mm-hmm.
People want to take a shot on that. Pass catching prowess. Gibbs still has ceiling left, which it should be terrifying to the rest of the NFL. Saquon Barkley at the 106, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown goes at the 107, putting Mike on the clock. 4 wideouts off the board, 3 running backs. What players are you looking at, Mike? You've got
So at the top, my highest ranked, her highest projected wide receiver will be Puka. I am firmly on the team that Puka Nacua. You should feel great about having him as a wide receiver 1 on your team, because there's people out there who don't. But if I'm at the 8th spot and Christian McCaffrey falls to me, I know I'm taking him in like every one of our drafts, but he fell to me at the 108. What am I supposed to do?
3 straight mock drafts. Puka is a very safe star in PPR leagues. Very safe. Malik Neighbors, so Puka went right after Mike. Malik Neighbors went next. Nico Collins at the 111. And then Ashton Genty going off the board to round out the first round.
Yeah, that makes sense.
At the 112, giving us 5 running backs and 7 wideouts going in the first round of a PPR draft. What is your reaction to the lay of the land there in the first?
My reaction is that was a great pick at the 109, grabbing Puka. That's certainly who I would have taken. I mean, the knock on Puka
over CMC.
Yeah. I mean, I think Puka in a full PPR is a target hog. I mean, the issue he has had from a not being like the number one is, I'm not sure he's a touchdown guy, which I don't buy that. He hasn't been a touchdown machine, but when you just talk targets, volume, full PPR, he is an alpha.
So Puka, 109 there. In the second round, we've got the Falcon is at the turn, so he took Genty and then went Drake London combo. And then Brian Thomas Jr. and A.J. Brown go next. And we finally have a break from the running backs and the wideouts. Brock Bowers off the board at the 204. The combo with Puka Nacua. You're talking a good 200 receptions between those two guys in a full PPR. And I think that's conservative. I think that's pretty safe. So, Mike, you're back on the clock.
I am.
You can't take McCaffrey again, I'm afraid.
I don't need to.
I do feel like it. Just to speak to McCaffrey for a second, it is a polarizing landscape with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
and I feel like there's the people that understand that he can be the number 1 overall running back again, and then there are the people that are like that's just an idiotic move. Like, that's how strong they feel about it. And I'm not one of them. I'm saying there's like a McCaffrey bullying going on out there where it's like they don't see it. They don't understand.
Right.
The injuries have burned them so badly that there's no realm in which they would take Christian McCaffrey. And to be honest, you've taken him in 3 straight mocks, but you've taken him ahead of ADP in all 3 mocks.
Is 108 would be higher than?
I mean, I think so in a full PPR even.
Then that is sensational. Like I get
so Mike starts this year with Christian McCaffrey.
I guess
every draft you will be the one pulling the trigger.
Like because like Puka, he's going to catch a bunch of passes. That's great. Is he going to rush the ball over 200 times too? Because Christian McCaffrey could catch 60 plus passes while having all those. I get it.
Everybody's
you're
selection
burnt,
is risk aversion when they don't take McCaffrey.
Yep. I get that. So I'm on the clock, looking at the wide receivers. I really like Ladd McConkey. I think he is a perfectly fine pick here, but I'm going to lean into the lowest T of the high T, and I will take Devon Achane and expect that he will just get peppered with targets yet again.
I love that pick, Mike. I think Achane is being undervalued. I really do. I think, especially in this format, but
he still does honestly feel a little bit scary to me, and he probably shouldn't, based off of,
I don't think you should,
of what happened. I mean, it's just the efficiency dropped so much, and the team was very disappointing. But in PPR especially, I would be really happy with that start of two just dynamic pass catchers who will, both of them could lead the league in receptions or in receiving yards at the end of the year.
It was we talked about on the overrated underrated. We talked about Mike McDaniels and his offensive prowess and how bad it was, like, emotionally for Dolphins fans and fantasy players. Achane had double the carries, double the attempts. You expect the efficiency. I mean, nobody thought 7.77.
No.
4.47 is fine. He caught 78 passes.
Exactly.
On an offense that it went from like a top 5 offense in points per game to 18. So if you bounce back at all because Tua is there and Tyreek's healthy, Achane is just a steal. I mean, I love the pick. Trey McBride goes next.
That really upset me.
You wanted the Bijan Trey McBride start.
Yes, I did.
Sorry, real quick to follow up earlier, the CMC PPR ADP. That's a lot of initials. It's 205. Whew. I was almost going to say you could have flipped those. Like Achane could have gone and McCaffrey could have gone in the second. But you're upset, Jason. You want to Trey McBride?
Yeah, I mean, in a full PPR, a tight end that just caught 111 receptions. I mean, that's like, there's not wide receivers on the board here that are going to catch 111 receptions. To have that positional advantage is outstanding in the second round. Unfortunately, Julia was rude and took him.
So Ladd McConkey went next after Kyle. Derrick Henry finally goes full PPR at the 208. Does that feel right?
Yeah, it feels about right. Baking in some risk of it, like he won't catch the passes. He probably regresses in touchdowns, but Derrick Henry just seems to be the one man that you should never, ever bet against.
I feel like Derrick Henry is oftentimes in full PPR leagues, he falls too far.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he doesn't catch passes. Look, that's not the only way you score in fantasy. If he rushes for 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns, basically like he did last year, you're okay not having the receptions. I'm sitting here on the clock now. I don't have a wide receiver. The tight ends, McBride and Bowers, are gone. I wouldn't look at quarterback this early. And there's a handful of running backs that I actually like. So I am going to pull the trigger on wide receiver, and it might be a little bit surprising who I take. I've got him in a full PPR. Now, this is assuming health, which is a scary thing to do, but I've got him as a wide receiver 1, even though he's not a wide receiver 1 for his team. It's T. Higgins. When he has been on the field, he's been unstoppable, and I'm going to take him as my wide receiver 1.
Oh, man.
We had, I think, a quick question yesterday that was, or last week, that was Rashee Rice, T. Higgins. Saw some reactions like, why is everybody in on T. Higgins now when, the injury history has been a problem? And I think everything feels really secure with the contract. We feel good about the offense. We feel good about the quarterback.
Feel good about the defense being bad.
But 209 is it's a pronouncement in favor of T. Higgins.
Yeah, I mean, the wide receivers.
Son of a gun. Gosh dang it. Bucky Irving goes it right before my pick. Sorry. No, that's frustrating because Bucky in a PPR, 50 receptions.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
nice.
Sorry. Go ahead, John.
No, that's fine.
Rashad White.
T. Higgins was my highest ranked. I mean, this is a full PPR league, so you saw the run of, Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey, Drake London. These guys are all gone already.
Very frustrated. All right, Jamar Chase was my first pick. JSN went after Higgins, and then Bucky Irving at the 211, which was my target at running back. I do have running backs on the board like Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor, high volume, high attempt running backs, kind of Henry light in that capacity. Didn't catch a ton of passes. Kyron, same story, not a ton of passes, but going to be workhorse running backs. I think I'm going to go wide out here.
Okay.
I'm going to take Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
And
hey.
it's just total targets, total receptions. They're going to be there. I don't know if he scores a bunch, but I know in a PPR league I'm getting, one of the top target guys. So now my decision, look, it's one of those running backs. Do I let them fly by because I can get somebody a little bit later? I got a long wait. I got to wait 22 picks?
Something like that.
That's gross.
We'll never know.
That's gross. I think I'm going to give myself the flexibility.
You can't figure that out.
I think I'm going to pivot back. I'm going to give myself more flexibility. If I take another wide out here, I was thinking about Marv. If I take another wide out here, I am really backed into running back in the fourth and at the turn. So I'll take Jacobs and lock in just a true workhorse there. So Chase, Wilson, Jacobs is the pick. And no, Jameson Williams not off the board to my team here in the third.
You could have had him.
Yeah. I wanted Bucky, though, man. That would have been nice, Bucky and Garrett Wilson. Rashee Rice goes next, third round.
Yeah, he would not have made it past me.
No, and then we have Marvin Harrison a couple picks later. I was really considering Marv.
Marv was probably going to be my pick if he was on the board here. It makes it really easy to me because I was between Marvin Harrison and my running back of choice. There are several good running backs. I love Kyron Williams. I talk up Jonathan Taylor, how much I love him. But I'm actually going to go with someone that might surprise you guys. Mike would do it as well.
Oh, don't do that to me.
I'm doing it to you.
Dude, I was going so high T.
I'm going with Chase Brown. When he got the starting job in a full PPR,
boo,
he was on pace for 93 targets. He was a true PPR back, and I think they're going to use him the same way. I've turned into a full believer that Chase Brown
turned into a Team Bengals as well.
Is going. Yeah, that's true.
Don't let him get Burrow.
I would love to stack with Burrow.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying, like, if I'm in a league and I see this happening in the second, third round, Joe Burrow's moves up my board.
Just for spite?
Yeah.
Just the anger play? Well, good. I am glad I took Chase Brown from you.
All right, Chase Brown to Jason to pair with Bijan and T. Higgins. Devontae Adams goes next at 305. And then Jonathan Taylor and Kyron off the board. Mike, I don't know if you were looking at still going high T with either of those guys, but you are back on the clock, 8th pick of the third round.
I am. So I'm high T, just running back. So right now the wide receivers, ADP-wise, would be Tyreek, Terry, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf. Oh, man. Sutton. This is a weird tier of wide receivers if you're talking a PPR league.
Are you having a hard time differentiating
Yes.
the group?
I am. I wasn't sure if I wanted to, balance out the team a little bit, but I am going to go.
Mike Williams? Are you going Mike Williams?
I am not.
Oh, okay.
But the testosterone is still going to keep on boosting, boys.
Really?
Oh, wow.
We're going to take the old man. We're going to take Alvin Kamara here.
Good
we are
night.
We are going to monopolize the running back reception market.
You're going to have an ARP attack. Christian McCaffrey
What could
and
go
Kamara.
wrong with McCaffrey and Kamara on a team together?
Does it say something
Nothing.
about your worldview, your philosophical worldview, that you just see people and it going right? Like, you're a positive person. You see the glass half full, the knee always healthy.
Yeah?
With CMC and now Kamara.
Yeah, you love Ken Walker as well.
I
Yeah,
do.
you do.
That's a perfect example of, like, he's so talented. And you love T. Higgins, who I drafted, because they're great when they're on the field.
Yeah, you can't. That's what I'm saying. The first vision you have when you put on the goggles and you watch the film, it's not the injuries. You just see the big plays.
No, because I'm not drafting like a coward.
Like, you would be a great agent for these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm available.
Yeah.
Alvin.
You want a percentage.
He'll go get that money.
You got to restructure your deal?
All right. Mike goes Alvin Kamara at 308, it's a great pick. I mean, it was with Jacobs on the board, Chase Brown on the board, I wouldn't have done it, but I mean, I think it would have been okay to take him at the top of the third. Mike Evans.
It doesn't feel great.
It doesn't feel good, but it could work.
Yeah, it does. It didn't look good last year, but it worked.
Mike Evans goes at 309. Breece Hall and Ken Walker and James Cook round out the third round, which, more running backs off the board. There was some depth there in a PPR with all the wideouts and a couple of tight ends going off the board. We'll go ahead and take a quick break and come back to the mock starting in the fourth round. Well, give me a quick reflection on the first three rounds, either with your team or just teams that you see out there that it's worked out well for them.
It's obviously very wide receiver heavy, pass catcher heavy, and I think once you hit this area of the draft, the fourth, feels like some of the wide receivers aren't very shiny. You know what I mean?
No.
You're kind of in a group of guys that you're not sure you love. They all have warts. And that feels pretty early for that in the fourth.
Yeah, we're getting down to that point. DJ Moore goes off the board with the first pick of the fourth round. And then we've got three more running backs. Hampton. LaShawn Hampton at 402. I like that. The news is very positive around Hampton. Chuba Hubbard and James Conner. A couple of underrated every down backs going here at 403 and 404. And then Mike, back on the clock. I mean, you're maxing out the testosterone.
I am.
So I'm wondering where you're going now. McCaffrey, Achane, Kamara, you're at the 405.
So it would be hilarious to take Joseph Mixon right here, but I'm not going to do that. So the wide receivers, Tyreek is still there.
Yep. You do have Achane.
For this particular build, yeah, because I have Achane, I don't love going in on that. Of like part of my bet of Achane is we see more of what we saw last year, where it's an anti-Tyreek bet. Then you Terry and DK and Cortland Sutton. My highest ranked of those guys would be Cortland Sutton. Man. But I'm considering going with the quarterback. No one has taken a quarterback yet. We're in the fourth round, meaning I get to take just my number one quarterback, which I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to see what my team looks like here, and my QB1 for this year is Josh Allen. Josh Allen or Lamar, it doesn't matter to me which one you want to go with, but I'm going to go with Josh Allen.
Well, Allen is the 405, the first quarterback off the board. Joe Mixon goes next. I imagined there was no hope of him getting to me when it has to go through Jason. And Mixon goes off the board. 406 seems like a great value. Goes behind, Cook and Walker and Hampton and Hubbard and Connor. That seems like one of the steals of the draft personally.
Yeah, I like talking crap about Mixon, but it's like especially Hubbard. Because we're in the PPR, I would value Mixon over Chuba.
Tyreek off the board at 407 to pair with McConkey on Kyle's team. And then Metcalf goes off the board. I think that could be a really, really solid pick from a, reception total perspective. Metcalf feels, I know we have differences of opinion, but Jason and I have shared, we think Metcalf just feels like one of those obvious falling too far guys.
Yeah, when Mike was on the clock, I had three wide receivers queued up for this pick. In order, it went DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, and Devontae Smith. So I think Tyreek in the fourth. I have been out on Tyreek, but Tyreek in the fourth,
yeah,
that's a shot worth taking. I would have taken Metcalf ahead of him just because I'm very confident in DK Metcalf this year. And instead, I'm just going to end up taking a great wide receiver. Both T. Higgins and Devontae Smith on my team, they're great wide receivers who aren't the ones for their team, but they are good for fantasy football. They're solid players, and Andy gets sniped again. I love it. I was hoping maybe with this group of live drafters that George Kittle could follow me as well, but I take it you would have taken him here?
Yeah, he was in the queue. I've learned how to use a queue versus just drafting a player.
Oh, that's
just
great.
So you guys know. Breaking news.
You've done this for only a decade.
Just a decade. But Yeah, that's two times, Betsy.
It
That's
happens.
Twice. That's twice.
It
He takes
happens.
George Kittle. So Metcalf went, and then
Get him.
Jason
Take
took
Terry
Devontae
right in his
Smith.
face right here.
Then Lamar Jackson goes at the 410, second quarterback. Then Kittle goes at 411, and Kittle was 100% the next pick for my roster, and I'm very frustrated. That's annoying.
So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking. I've got a bunch of names that just don't fit the tier that I felt like Kittle represented for my team right there. At wide receiver, jokes aside, Jameson in the 5th is better than Jameson in the 3rd.
Agreed.
So he is in consideration for me. I look at some of the other guys out there. You know, someone's going to pull the trigger on Tet McMillan at some point, who could have a high reception total in year 1 and a full PPR. Terry McLaurin's sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that feels really, really safe for the roster. So I'm actually, I look at the running backs, and there's like, Monty's there, and then it's a pile of rookies. RJ Harvey, how involved is he going to be? Do you trust RJ Harvey if you're me as your running back 2? I don't think so. I would trust Judkins more, Jason.
Yeah, Judkins has far more assured opportunities. I think he's going to be the starter from day one, and with J.K. Dobbins there, you're just not sure with R.J. Harvey, although Harvey probably will catch more passes.
I'm going to take Terry McLaurin, and, I have so much confidence in that offense, and now I'm going to take a quarterback.
Okay.
And I can either try to disrupt Jason and go for my own stack of Burrow and Chase, so he doesn't get to bring him back, or I can take the combination.
That's a tricky situation.
I can take the combination of Jaden Daniels with Terry McLaurin.
Oh, man.
So I'd love to hear what you think. I know what my rankings say.
That's what a predicament that you have backed into. I know what I would. Do you want me to say what I would do?
Look, I have it locked on my side. I'm taking, I'll write it down, but
Okay.
I'm just curious where you guys are going to go.
I would go Burrow.
That's where I'm going.
I'd want the Burrow Jamar Chase.
Are you
stack.
sure?
The hard part there is one of the differentiators. Burrow's ranked higher for me, but they're back to back.
Yeah.
But what's hard is McLaurin does have the touchdown regression story. He's also got a contract situation right now.
Yeah.
He hasn't showed up. But there's a little bit more unknown with McLaurin this year. And then Jaden, year 2, you guys have thrown out the Stroud comp. I don't like that. I think Jaden's going to be fine.
What?
We're not comping
No.
him to it. We're just showing that there is a world where you don't necessarily get better in
Comp
year
is not the right word. Sorry. The example. The
Yeah.
Stroud
Yes.
example. Sorry. But, if it goes bad for Jaden in year 2, it's certainly going bad for McLaurin with the touchdown regression. So I won't stack that. I'll just take the Chase Burrow combo, disrupt Jason's potential plans, and Jaden goes next. So Jaden off the board to Betsy.
I mean, goodness gracious. You cannot let that happen in your league.
Let the Burrow Chase combo happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I got so focused on how hilarious it would be to ruin Jason's Bengal super stack that I took my eye off the ball. I took my eye off Jamar
My
Chase.
stack is better.
Yeah.
So I was actually really hesitant on whether I would take Burrow here, and the reason was because I've got 2 ways I can stack, and these quarterbacks are Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. To me, are the same tier.
Yeah,
I
that's
prefer
fair.
a guy who can have the rushing touchdowns and the tush push, and I just drafted Devontae Smith, so I'm going to complete my stack there with Jalen Hurts. You made it a little bit easy on me, Andy, by taking Burrow and making me not have to make the decision.
That does feel like the end of the I feel good about my quarterback pick early group. Allen, Jackson, Burrow, Daniels, and Hurts. In some order.
Yeah.
And it truly is in some order that you – I don't think I'd blame anybody for taking – it's hard not to have Allen and Jackson at the top, but if you wanted to take Jaden, I get it. If you wanted to take Hurts,
sure.
I get it.
I was in a real league where, it's a different scoring format that really boosted it towards Jalen Hurts, but I took him as the first quarterback. That whole group is shuffle up. So I like getting the last of that group.
All right, Jalen Hurts at the 504. Cortland Sutton.
I was desperately hoping that Cortland Sutton would drop to me.
Yeah, that would not be so bad if you go
No.
high T and you get a quarterback and then you can lead the way with Sutton. That makes sense. He goes at 505, however, and you don't get him.
Yeah.
Kyle takes Tet McMillan, so either I sparked something in him or he's on the same wavelength, which is him sitting there as the number one, a top 10 pick, Bryce Young's resurgence. There's some PPR value to be had there.
Mm-hmm.
And then George Pickens goes off the board at 507. So, Mike, you are on the clock. McCaffrey, Achane, Kamara. I kind of like it. It's a PPR.
Man. I
it's
feel
a
like
PPR explosion at running back.
I am in a house of cards right now.
Oh,
man.
it is.
This thing could topple at any moment. It is so fragile.
The point of a mock is the experimentation.
Yeah,
this is
that's what I'm going
This
with.
is not your draft, but
Nope.
I am curious now how you navigate feeling better about the house of cards from here on out. Is there a way that you can insure these guys or make yourself feel better at running back if one of them hits the shelf? Because I would bet a lot of money that Kamara and McCaffrey don't play 17 each.
Sure.
So, I'm just curious to see how it goes.
Yeah, but I have to start looking at the wide receiver position, or it's going to be all flyers and upside at an entire position, which that's not feeling great heading into the draft.
You might already be there.
I might, but there is a name who, look, I'm surprised Andy didn't draft him in round 3.
Betsy's letting me know we're into tier 8 of the UDK rankings at wide receiver right now.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, Jameson!
But I'm going to take Jameson Williams here, who I am in agreement that is being undervalued. Zay Flowers, who went next to Joe, he was in some consideration for me, but I need some touchdowns.
You need alpha potential.
Yes.
Yeah, I went stack with Burrow versus taking my guy in Jameson, but I love it. Much better value than I got last draft. Flowers off the board. Godwin next. Waddle at 5'11". TJ Hawkinson. I think there's some PPR value right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the 5'12", and then Travion Henderson in New England at the 6'01". Caleb Johnson at 6'02", and David Montgomery at 6'03". 3 running backs leading off the 6th round. And, Monty at the 6'03". Feels all right to me.
As a running back 3, that's fine.
And Caleb Johnson, I thought maybe I'd hear a groan from Jason.
I didn't see it. Or
Caleb Johnson got drafted.
He's not on your team.
He's no longer in my queue.
DeAndre Swift at the 604 could also be a steal. So, Mike, you're back on the clock. You took Jameson. Flowers, Godwin, and Waddle at wide receiver went after you, and that was it at wide receiver.
So looking at the ADP, Worthy's at the top. Olave is interesting here considering the build of my team. Don't love doubling up on the New Orleans Saints with that situation that they got going on with their quarterback. Travis Hunter is on I'm just reading through ADP. Jordan Addison, I am concerned about a suspension for this year, so I don't think I could start with him. So it boils it down to Olave. I have to do it. I have to do it.
That's 3 gasps for 1 pick, Mike.
Because
that's the minimum for drafting Olave.
Yeah, it is. It's 1 gasp per concussion.
Oh, you need more gasps. Juwan Jennings, was he in consideration?
He was. I thought I would be overdrafting him, and I thought I could sneak him
into the future round?
Yeah, I thought I could get him. Yeah, I know. Hey, sometimes you gamble and you lose. Sometimes it's not a fart.
Oh, gosh. Olave, and then Juwan Jennings, and then Xavier Worthy off the board to Kyle.
Yes, because Jennings is higher in my rankings than Olave.
Yeah.
But tried to play the game, and I lost.
I understand the enticement of Olave in your specific situation because of what we've thought he could be.
Oh, a world exists for Chris Olave this year, even with bad quarterbacks too, because he's just the guy. Show up with a high 20, like a 28% target share, and truly, PPR his way into value. Maybe you're only looking at 4 touchdowns, but you could be talking 80, 90-plus receptions here.
Tony Pollard off the board at the 6:08 ahead of Jason's selection. Jason currently with Chase Brown and Bijan at running back, Higgins and Devontae Smith.
2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. I have 2 players in my queue. One is a running back, one is a wide receiver. Very difficult to decide which one to take. But I look at the 3 teams left between me and my next pick. So they get 6 picks. And of those 3 teams, each one of them only has 1 running back. So that makes my decision a lot easier in the sense that I think that they are going to probably have to – a little bit of strategery. So I'm going to take R.J. Harvey here. We talked about him a while ago, I think in a PPR league. Very talented. He's in the system.
Man, that seems like did he fall already?
Well,
or am I just misremembering?
No, he's fallen a little bit with the J.K. Dobbins news, but it's certainly, to me, I think, a rookie in Sean Payton's system that targets the running back so much. It's a good value there.
Well, I was hoping Harvey or Aaron Jones would fall to me at the 6:12. Harvey is gone to Jason. Aaron Jones goes next to Kurt. And Rome Odunze, I don't know if that's just trying at this point. Wasn't going to be the pick, but he's in the queue. So I'm back on the clock. Took Burrow, which cost me at running back. I look at the running backs that I could have had, and I do feel like it's a tier down right now. I can take a chance on Pacheco returning to form. Not hyper excited. Brian Robinson, we've talked about him as a value. I like that. But it's getting
ugly.
It's getting ugly.
I can trade you a running back.
Man, how do you view Laporta and Kelsey in a full PPR?
Kelsey is a very big question mark. The way that I am projecting this season, I think Kelsey's going to take a significant hit in his target market share. He's always been 24, 25% plus. I've got him sub 20 for the first time in his career. If he doesn't take that hit, then he's going to be one of the best values in the draft in a PPR league. Even if he doesn't have the crazy yards after catch or yards per reception, the volume's always been there for him. So it's just a matter of how you're projecting the Chiefs, and you got to call your shot. Historically, it's been a pretty good idea to bet on Travis Kelce.
I'm going to go ahead and take Isaiah Pacheco with the first of the 2 picks.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Mike, my choices at running back at this point are Tyrone Tracy. Is that more gross?
I don't know.
I mean, I didn't take Brian Robinson. I took Pacheco over Brian Robinson because I have McLaurin on the team already.
Yeah.
And those 2 it's close. Najee Harris, how much work is he going to get? Is it going to get handed off to Hampton? I need a running back of value here. And so it's tough. Javonte Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, it is thinned out.
Yep.
So, all the signs, all the news reports, all of the camp talk, Pacheco back to his former self.
Oh, is that what I haven't read any of those?
No, it's been good
reports. It's been very
reports.
positive. Whether you get that on the field, we'll see.
There is an argument to be made for Pacheco that if he's back to full health, he really is. He doesn't have a lot of competition there. I know they brought in Elijah Mitchell and they brought Kareem Hunt back.
I think it's competition for him.
I mean, personally, I'm negative on Pacheco. I think it'll be a 3-way timeshare. And last year they used Kareem Hunt as a pass catching back and near the goal line.
Yeah,
Pacheco was
your
back.
high value touches are gone.
Yeah.
All right, my next pick is probably a surprise, but I went with Stephon Diggs.
That is a surprise.
In a full PPR, we've had the conflicting is he ready, is he not ready reports. That
if he's ready, that's a fantastic pick.
I mean, in the 7th round, the number 1 target for Drake May, who you guys have confidence in, I think it's a perfect selection when you already have 3 wide receivers. So you get to see if you've got something special there in PPR. Travis Hunter goes next. Calvin Ridley goes at 703. Your groan was for what, Jason?
Travis Hunter. I was between Travis Hunter and R.J. Harvey. I thought maybe I could end up getting both of them when I picked Harvey. I definitely think I used the right strategy in getting a running back there with the running back tier that was left. It's all gross now, and there's still wide receivers I like. I'm going to take one of them here. I'm going to grab a guy who was...
Don't tell us.
Oh, I'm just...
Tell us in a second.
Oh, TBD.
Well, we're back from break. Jason's had hours to think about this pick.
Let me ask you a question, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want a player who in the last 8 games last year was on pace for 121 receptions and 1,723 receiving yards?
I would.
That's Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, man.
As Jerry
His
Jeudy.
situation's exactly the same,
It is because Amari Cooper's not there anymore.
and everything else is the same.
Jameis
is the
is
same.
the quarterback.
Oh, I could dream a dream.
4 wideouts to start the 7th round. It goes Diggs, Hunter, Ridley, Jeudy.
And I mean, the same thing with Jeudy. If it's Joe Flacco and Jerry Jeudy is being drafted around this range, that will end up being wild. But I think that's again fragile, because it's like it might not be Joe. It might be Joe for
4 weeks.
It might be Joe for a month. And
That's
then,
all I need, baby.
and then
Trade Jerry Jeudy 1 month
and then the
in.
team says, no, we gotta look at the other guys. We gotta look at the kids.
It could start with Kenny Pickett. And then
Oh,
it's just
Julian!
gross.
Oh, come on!
Well, Bo Nix goes, and
I was
then
about to eat my
Kelsey
fantasy
goes,
vegetables.
and Mike was going to eat his fantasy vegetables, and Jacoby Myers, and he's on the clock because
Thank you for
Myers
finishing the sentence.
Myers goes right before his selection.
Oh man,
So now you've got to
dude,
scramble.
I felt so good about that.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah, I got it.
Other people eat healthy too, Mike.
I got it. I'm going to draft a player.
Boy, by the way, Julia has like your like dream team of wideouts here with Pickens,
We
and
share-
Juwan Jennings, and then Jacoby.
We share a lot of fantasy philosophies.
Well, she has Mixon, so not everything.
Well, yeah. Hey, that'll be too weird.
All right, so how you feeling? 3 picks removed from your triple running back choices.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We're building that wide receiver room. I'm gonna go with the guy. He doesn't get talked about, I think, enough on this show. He recently came up on, I think, a Footcast, but the dude got a bag. I got Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir as my wide receiver 3. I'll just take his floor with potential ceiling there. So I'm in the late 7th to get Shakir. I'm for it.
All right, Shakir to Mike. Brian Robinson does go at 709.
Brooks, you devil
Yeah,
dog!
Come
on, man!
Brooks takes Josh Downs at 710. He was in my queue as well. And
He wasn't making a. I was going to go
it's a
Shakir
bummer.
Downs. It was going to be great.
Well, he said he wanted Shakir, so you took him from.
We might have to make a trade later.
All right. Well,
It's
Debo.
a mock draft.
It's a mock trade.
Oh, it's just a mock trade. Mock trade show. Josh Downs, Debo Samuel, Ricky Pearsall finishing out the 7th round. Keon Coleman, who recently the news came out that Keon Coleman was dealing with injury, I think in week 9 and beyond, disrupting his rookie season. Travis Etienne goes at 802. He was definitely a target for my next pick. Somebody that can catch the football out of the backfield with a shot at the number 1 overall spot in Jacksonville. Jaden Reed off the board. Mike Q has been just decimated and cleared out in the last 7 picks. So Downs and Jaden Reed to Brooks in back-to-back 7th and 8th round picks. Debo at 711. I don't know how you feel about that.
I don't know how to feel about Debo. I feel like I'm mostly out on Debo. A player who, seemed like he lost a step last year.
I feel like I'm completely out.
Changing teams at an old age. But at this point in the draft, it's also tough to say you're out on a guy who it's not costing you much here, who's been a top fantasy option in the past.
All right, Baker Mayfield goes at 804, and Mike, you're back on the clock. You have taken Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, and Khalil Shakir the last 3 rounds.
Man, I would if I had gotten Josh Downs right here, I would have felt the cards a little bit more secure. The wide receivers at this point, Addison, the suspension, I don't know, Ayuk, when is he even ready? Cooper Kupp, Andy, you talked about him as a bust pick recently, which I think I agree. And then it's just taking some some real shots on unknowns. And I feel like you guys, I'm looking at the draft. So in between me and my next pick, 3 teams have taken a tight end, I think that I would guess at this point that a few will be taken off. For me, I don't want Jonnu and Achane, so it comes down to Sam Laporta and Evan Engram. Do I think that Engram will get enough PPR action to outproduce Sam Laporta? I think it's real close, but with what happened, I know I have two Lions, and this one I am actually okay with because I think that Laporta is the better tight end pick over Evan Engram. I'm willing to go in on the Lions offense.
So you took Laporta.
Yeah.
Jason's doing a fist pump over here. Jalen Warren, Jaden Higgins, and Jordan Addison, the triple J's, off the board. Jason did a fist pump.
Is that what the fist pump was for?
He probably saw his Judy pick and was thinking about it again. He's like, yeah.
No,
Judy.
my fist pump was, I think in the 8th round, the value at tight end goes to me. It goes McBride and Bowers, great. Kittle's probably the best value.
Yeah.
And then I want to punt forever to be late. But literally in PPR, my tight end 4 is the guy I'm able to get in the 8th round, and I'm so happy you have Achane.
You believe that it will happen again.
I do think, I mean, he was the tight end 4 last year. Jonnu Smith in a PPR, hyper-targeted with those short Tua targets, and so I'll be thrilled in a full PPR to get him in the 8th.
All right, well, that works for me, Jason, because Mike was between Laporta and Ingram. That would have been the selection that I was between as well. Johnny Smith goes to you, which I think that's a good pick. He was a PPR monster. Najee and Tyrone Tracy go, so I think my picks here are going to be fairly simple. I'm going to take Evan Ingram for the PPR value at tight end. They signed him for a reason. And then I'm going to come back and just take another shot at my running back spot. It is thin and nasty. And like I'm talking Javonte and Ramondre, 2 players where if I draft them, I need a bucket because I need to throw up a little bit.
Yeah.
And in PPR, even more so. I feel just kind of gross about. I don't know. I really honestly don't know how much work Javonte is going to get. But I know Javonte is not what he was. So I'm going to take a 3rd down shot. And I'm going to take Cam Scatterby.
Yeah, that was who I was going to take.
It.
I'm going to take Scatterby, who goes 2 picks after Tyrone Tracy. And you had him on the board, Jay?
Yes, sir.
So Jordan Mason goes next to Betsy.
Also a great pick.
Yeah, at this stage, 9th round. I mean, we are almost at the end of this draft. You're taking some shots. Jordan Mason and then Egbuka goes at the 9:03. Jason, you're back on the clock.
So there's 3 players.
Didn't see you fist pump.
No. There's 3 players I like here. Javonte Williams, I think is a value in the 9th. Obviously, he's not the same. I love Trey Harris, rookie wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers. And then a safe pick in Darnell Mooney. So I'm going to make my decision based on my roster. Right now I've got Bijan, Chase Brown, R.J. Harvey. I'm happy there. T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy. I feel like I could use a little bit more upside at wide receiver. So that dictates that I'm going to take Trey Harris for the hope that he is the, I think he is a very good wide receiver on a, playing for Herbert, and he's going to be, that outside guy that they need.
Trey Harris, David Njoku goes next. Patrick Mahomes at 9:06. Rashid Shaheed. Mike back on the clock after the Laporta pick.
Oh, man. All right, so my team is actually – I have now balanced out the scales here with the 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers. I got my onesie positions filled at this point. Oh, man, Javonte right here, he's not what he once was. It's an alluring upside pick as the Cowboys will be – they will be a strong offense. I don't know who it's going to be. Looking through the rest, it's like Rachaad White. Does he catch enough passes that you're
White
still
White
happy?
has the upside of if you guys are worried about if you worry about the undersized Bucky injury situation.
Yeah, for me in the 9th, like if I'm taking Rachaad White, I got to feel comfortable that I could flex him if things went wrong. With my first 3 picks at the wide receiver position. Like Matthew Golden is there.
I didn't realize Kyle went super stack at Kansas City. Worthy, Kelsey, Mahomes.
Man, you got Mahomes and you got the wrong Kansas City Chiefs.
Should have got Rice.
That's weird.
Weirdo.
Matthew Golden is there. He was a first-round wide receiver. I don't know that I believe he should have been, but he was for a team that really needs a number 1. I'm trying to quickly scroll through the wide receivers. I'm going to take Javonte here. Am I? Am I?
Oh, man.
Yep, I am.
Oh, the struggle is real in the ninth.
I told you this was an experiment here of starting with 3 running backs and a quarterback, and it
so remember when I asked
difficult.
you how you were going to ensure those kind of injury-prone guys at the top? I didn't know your answer was going to be Javonte.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
But that was your answer. Cooper
Should have
Kupp.
been Garindo.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about that. Cooper Kupp
Javonte
finally goes
appeared
at
in every game last year,
909. Yeah, part of it.
Javonte did not appear in any game last year.
Dobbins, Mark Andrews at 911. Caleb Williams goes at 912. Mr. White, Rashad White at 1001, and Matthew Golden at 1002.
Yeah.
Yeah, Golden was.
Would you have taken Golden there?
At 1002?
No, at my 908.
No, I think with your team I would have taken Garindo. I think that's what I would have done. Would you get another shot at? But Golden goes, Tucker Kraft, and Zach Charbonnet. You have your second to last pick here, Mike. You're back on the clock.
Yeah. In hindsight, I wish I would have taken Matthew Golden there, just for the upside. Looking through the wide receivers, oh my gosh. I mean, Cedric Tillman is there. He's kind of interesting. Romeo Dobbs is
bad.
He's not bad. He is a very flexible player. He just
touches toes.
Yeah, no, I know. where you're going.
Yeah. I mean, I've in our dynasty league, I've started Romeo Dobbs on many occasions, and it has what? What are you pointing at?
I'm just pointing at this new tech we have that we are not supposed to do sound effects. Oh. We'll just peel back the curtain. When we're done with this, we got the warning from the producers. We're good. But yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's why you have a real drum set here.
All right. We're going to take some fantasy vegetables here. I'm going to take Darnell Mooney in the 10th round.
Oh, come on, man.
I don't think there's much of a difference between that fantasy vegetable and the one you could have taken 3 rounds earlier in Jacoby Myers. So that's a great pick.
I had 2 players in my queue from a while ago. They were actually Javonte Williams and Darnell Mooney. And so you just took your last 2 picks. You double
What
sniped.
an incredible turn of events.
Kyle Williams, Brandon
I felt
Ayuk,
terrible about both of them.
Ray Davis off the clock, off the board, and then Jason, your second to last pick here at the 9th pick in the 10th round.
Yeah, I'm looking. I feel like I could use another running back more than anything. If I'm Ramondre Stevenson is out there, but he's playing with a much better player in Travion Henderson. You got the shot at Jalen Blue being a pass catching guy. I don't like any of the running backs here. So you can't make me take one. I'm going to take a guy that is not getting enough respect. Michael Pittman is a good wide receiver.
I was between him and Mooney.
We can say Josh Downs is the better receiver on this team, but Michael Pittman has been a very reliable target. And the report out of
thank goodness, Matt.
The report out of camp,
thank goodness,
has been that Pittman is making sure that he is going to get his targets.
It's an amazing pick in the 10th round. Thank you, Matthew Betts,
from making sure you didn't have to draft Ramondre?
For making sure I didn't have to look at – because Ramondre in the 10th round is stupid value. Ramondre's the starter.
Yeah.
All the news out of camp is that Henderson has a ways to go and that they're not going to use him between the tackles to start off. Now, that could change, but Ramondre is going to be their number 1 running back to start the year, and that is good enough for a little while in the 10th round. But thank you for taking him. I'm going to go back-to-back wideouts here to end my draft. Both of them starting wideouts that are just undervalued. I will take Rashad Bateman with the 12th pick of the 10th round, and I will take Calvin Austin, who will start and, kind of just ignored by everybody in the fantasy community, and yet Aaron Rodgers is there, and he's an explosive player that can get things done. So I think there's some upside potential in Calvin Austin as a shot for week 1, see what happens, and then you can move on. Tootin', thank you. See, that's the sound effect you can do.
Yeah.
That's not using the technology. Tyler Warren off the board. Jason, you got your last pick. We're rounding this thing out.
I want a sleeper running back, someone that could surprise. I'm going to take a complete bust from last year, Jalen Wright second-year running back for the Dolphins, and hope that with Mostert out of the way, they've been talking about using him more. He's 210 pounds, runs sub 4.4. That's my pick.
All right.
Roshan, Trey Benson, Brock Purdy, Julia Grabiner, quarterback, the last quarterback. Or actually, there's 2 teams that need him.
Wow. We got some really late rounders.
Yeah, Brock goes, and then
Nice.
let's see if I can predict this. Brooks and Brian both need one. Who's Brooks going to take? Probably Dak. That's my guess. But, Mike, you're on the clock.
So
Final pick.
a sleeper, I guess. I mean, this was a from superstar to sleeper running back in a PPR format. We're all in agreement that Brian Robinson is a fine value pick because just buy into the Washington offense.
Mm-hmm. That's not a bad pick here.
Eckler was what? He only played in 12 games this past year, but he was averaging over 3 targets a game in that time, and things could break the right way for him. I'm gonna take Eckler here.
All right, Austin Eckler with the last pick of Mike's team. All 3 of us have finished the draft, so I ended up with Chase, Garrett Wilson, McLaurin, Diggs, Bateman, and Austin at wideout. Josh Jacobs at the in the 3rd round with Pacheco and Scatterbo. Definitely my weakness right now is running back, and you look at that and you say, would I have been happier with a 5th round running back? Maybe. I mean, at that point, it was like the rookies, maybe Judkins, and then I could have come back to quarterback. I ended up with Joe Burrow to stack with Jamar Chase and Evan Ingram in the 8th round as my tight end.
I've got Jalen Hurts at the top, Jonnu Smith at my other onesie, and then at running back, Bijan Robinson, Chase Brown, R.J. Harvey, and Jalen Wright. At wide receiver, T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Trey Harris, and Michael Pittman Jr.
Running back, I got CMC, Devon Achane, Alvin Kamara, Javonte, and Austin Eckler. My wideouts are Jamo Williams, Chris Olave, Khalil Shakir, and Darnell Mooney. Then I got Josh Allen and Sam Laporta at my onesie positions.
The draft ended with Wandale, Herbert, Kyler, and Fields.
Dude.
So there was a
Kyler with
Kyler
your
in the
last
round.
pick?
Yeah, that's
That's
Kyler 2 rounds
do it.
behind Caleb.
Mhm.
Silly.
That's how it fell.
And then Caleb gets comboed with Justin Fields. 2 of the last 3 picks for the Falcons. So there you go, a 12-team full PPR mock draft. Some good moments in there.
Yeah.
I feel okay.
I feel okay.
Yeah. Jason,
Not
can you upgrade?
electric.
Okay. Do you
I feel pretty good.
I mean, because you got Judy.
Yeah, I mean Jerry Jeudy in the 7th. That's walk-off home run. No, I think rounds 6 through 10 for me made me feel better about the quality of the roster.
That's a good baseball reference, Jason. Footballers AMA episode coming up. Too hot to handle. Divisional breakdowns. A lot more coming your way. If you want to be a part of the community, please go over to jointhefoot.com. And we've got thousands of fantasy football fanatics over there. A great Discord channel. A bunch of really cool tools. So join the Foot Clan. We'd love to have you. Thanks for joining us today.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.